There are many ways to be happy in life. One way is to be single. And these days I sometimes envy people that are single. Another way is to be in a committed relationship. These are all great choices, and I salute them all. Among them, marriage is incredibly popular. 96% of Americans marry at least once in their lives. 96%. That figure still stands at 80% for Germany. For Switzerland, the estimate is somewhat lower. At first sight, love does not seem improvable with economic methods. I think it is. I've been researching the economics of love for a while, and I want to turn it into a book about lavenomics. So some weeks ago, I was on the phone with a literary agent who asked me a few questions to decide whether or not she wanted to represent that book. So she asks, "Where are you now? Are you single?" And I answer, "No, I'm happily married with 3 little kids, but it took me quite a while to get there, and there used to be a dating basket case." And she's like, "Great! Tell me about the basket case." So let's start with that. When I was 18, like many of us, I wanted to have a boyfriend. Oh, not just a boyfriend, a soulmate, somebody with charisma, some magical nondescript thing that would sweep me off my feet and let me know in an instant he's the one. Oddly enough, very little thought on my end went into whether I could be the one for someone else. I know that some of you here today knew me during that time, and I really appreciate you holding your peace. My conversations with Mr. Handsome did not go so well. I did not meet that many young men anyway. My academic high school had over 50% girls. So my female friends and I spent a lot of time thinking about the soulmates we wanted, but not so much time meeting them. I became rather precise in my preference about attitude, character, intelligence, and one or the other aspect of attractiveness. But enigmatically, he would just not appear. So here's my learning number 1. Who you meet matters more than what you want. See, all my thinking and wishing did not produce a soulmate. It would have been more important to meet lots of people instead. Let's look at some empirical data from speed dating for the reasons. I got a lot of mileage out of speed dating in my research. Not by attending events, but speed dating generates a data goldmine. Lots of people, lots of encounters, a series of encounters, a panel data set to die for. With one exception, I wish it included gay people. In one of my favorite papers entitled "Can Anyone Be the One?", Michel Belot and Marco Francesconi from Essex University show that people's choices depend ultimately more on what they can get rather than what they want. They could find this out because people were in randomly combined groups throughout the meetings. It was possible to separate the effect of group composition, which is opportunity, from anything else, such as preferences. If you adapt your preference to your circumstance, you would expect, for example, that the average level of education in the available supply of mates is also the average level of education among the people receiving proposals. And indeed, this is the case. Higher average education available means higher average education among the people receiving proposals. And vice versa, only lower education available, the number of proposals does not go down significantly. People just lower their expectations. So you can conclude, opportunity trumps preference. Big time. Opportunity determines your choice along height, occupation, and whether the person smokes or not. For other traits, such as age, preferences are more important, but never win over opportunities. In terms of numbers, preferences explain as little as 1% of your choice along height, occupation, and smoking. The rest is explained by opportunities. So I'm afraid anyone can be the one. Or in other words, who you meet matters more than what you want. Back to my own tortuous dating journey. My life continues, and I see all my friends, one by one, couple up and be happy, and I don't. The whole process is quite enigmatic and eludes me. And here's the thing, I don't do enigmatic. I'm an economist. I like to have a grip on things. I'm also a little bit obsessive-compulsive. Maybe not a little. I always have my things under control, and I always deliver. Except on this thing called love. So, what's a single lady to do that doesn't want to be single? Well, in my case, I put my economist glasses on and studied. What works and what doesn't? The mantra of the empirical economist. And I start counting, not beans, but people. And I realize that it matters how many men and how many women are around. See, I just figured out that it matters how many people you meet, that I walk into the next trap. Let me tell you how. I start work life and end up at an international organization for development. We do caring work. That means you meet a few more women than men. You also meet the most intelligent, handsome, caring, and well-groomed men. And sometimes they're ready for a boyfriend. This automatically prolonged my search. I love my employer, but for a straight lady, it can be a dating desert. So I had to import my boyfriend. What's the equivalent of a dating desert for the straight man? Yes, a German engineering firm. So here's my learning number 2. You want your own gender in the minority for the best odds. Whether you're straight or gay, gender ratios are massively important. They are a massive piece of odds and a key opportunity for you to influence. Here's some data to back up my case. Josh Angrist wrote a great paper about sex ratios and marriage markets. And he shows that when there are many men and few women around, women have higher bargaining power. And that most importantly, they put this bargaining power to very good use. Angrist studied immigrant communities in the US across the last century. These communities are at first quite self-contained upon arrival, which means that people chose partners mostly among themselves. It also means that the gender ratio in these communities matters for gender power. So Angrist finds that when women have the upper hand, there are more marriages overall. Second, men earn more. Men need to sustainably impress a woman under these circumstances to woo her. And 3, the children born to these unions were economically better off. That had to do with higher earnings in the family and higher stability in the relationship. One of my key missions is to have people, and women in particular, empowered. One way to give power is the gender ratio. The global hotspots where you ladies need to go if you want to wield that power are Silicon Valley, the City of London, and engineering faculties the world over. These places have male to female ratios that have the men working hard and the women in control. In the dating market, if not necessarily otherwise. Straight men, by the way, need to go to the US East Coast. So where did this end for me? I was in the dating desert, but with a job that allowed me to travel the world, meet lots of people, and stop over in Europe too. My husband-to-be was in his own dating desert, but also coming through airports quite a lot. So while we knew each other as teenagers, we met again during one of our frequent airport stops. And because his odds and negotiation power were sufficiently weakened by the gender ratio of a German engineering firm, I scored the deal of the century and married that man. Wherever you are in your love life, you cannot control the result, but you can definitely set the odds in your favor. by meeting lots of people that you like, and by looking for an advantage in the gender ratio. If a dating basket case like myself ended up where she wanted, so can you. Thank you.